my friends? Cubs fan Han here for another Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes video. And my friends, I know today's title is just a little bit clickbaity. But hey, I wanted to talk about a bunch of hacks that I have learned for Grand Arena. And when I say hack, I don't mean literally APKing the game. That will get you banned. Am I right, Bulldog? But hey, what we want to talk about today is tips and tricks to really help you up your Grand Arena game. This is probably the premier spot in this game now. Crystal income-wise, that's probably Squad Arena, but Grand Arena is, I think, where a lot of people get their competitive jive, and there's some tips and tricks that you guys can learn, some life hacks for Grand Arena to help you get a lot more banners and also take more banners from your opponents. And so I'm going to divide this video into two. At first, we're going to talk about general tips that can help you get ahead to better plan out your Grand Arenas. And then I'm actually going to share with you, I think I have 7 team ideas that can help you get really high banner, 60 plus banner matches. We got a lot of good stuff in this video. I'm going to go as quick as I can because I've got a lot of good stuff prepared for you. I did a ton of research on this video. I really hope that this helps you guys win more Grand Arenas. Unless you're my opponent, just turn this off, all right? All right, so starting with the general tips, and we'll go through these relatively quickly. Some of them are a bit more obvious, but I do want to cover the obvious stuff because it might be obvious to me, it might be obvious to you, but there's somebody else out there in the comments that this may not be obvious to. So starting with tip number 7, consider a lighter defense. I think one of the biggest mistakes people make in Grand Arena is going a little too heavy on defense, so you run into issues on offense. Now, there is a balance to find here, because if you go too light on defense, you're going to have opponents blowing through you with 1,930 banners, and you're going to be in a world of hurt. And so I think what you need to do to evaluate whether or not you need lighter defense or whether or not you're hitting your stride is look at the last couple Grand Arenas you've got in your game right now and look at how many banners your opponents are scoring. If they're scoring over 1,900 banners every time, full clearing you one shot, then you probably don't need to go lighter on defense. But if your defense is doing well, you're getting holds for things, you can take a team or two off defense and put it on offense. And in a lot of cases, it's just a matter of bringing out maybe one defensive team that you've been placing. For me, that team was Bugs. I used to place my Bugs all the time. I'm actually holding them for offense more because they're a really good offensive team. And you also want to consider teams that you have on defense. What teams are just so easily handled? Bugs can kind of be one of those teams. Sometimes people just have a really solid Trey counter. They know what to do. Boom, boom. Some other teams are like that. So just balance that, but consider a lighter defense. All right, number 5 here is to save your best teams for the back wall, and then number 4 is to place teams with lots of AoE. Number 4 is pretty obvious, so I'm just showing you guys that one right now. This has been covered a lot of times, but if you haven't thought about it, AoE helps strip banners. That's going to be a good idea. But what I really want to talk about is saving your best teams for the back wall. That's not talking defensively. That's from an offensive perspective. You want to try to save your gas, your CLS, your Darth Revan, your strongest teams for your opponent's back wall, if at all possible. Because if you can do that, you have all the information in front of you, and then you can start undersizing the crap out of that back wall. We're going to talk a lot about undersizing and soloing. There's a few characters that are fantastic solos. You're probably only going to want to risk that on a back wall. Front wall, you kind of want to bring it and be confident, but you can make up a lot of lost ground on the back wall if you save enough. Undersizing solo is tip number 3. And again, all on the back wall. We're going to talk about some specific characters that can do that. But there's some characters in particular you may be placing on defense a lot that you might want to hold for offense just because of their solo capability. All right, let's cruise through that because we'll digest that a bit more. Avoid placing soloable teams. So on the flip side, if you are able to solo a team, if you're going against a team, you see it on your opponent's back wall, you can solo that team. They can solo the same team. Don't place it, if at all possible. So some teams to consider not placing anymore is teams like Phoenix Squad. Phoenix can be soloed quite easily. Ewoks, very easy to solo amongst others. And so pay attention to teams that your opponents might be soloing for you if you end up being able to check out their attacks while they come through. You can see how many banners they got. Also, you could check on SWGoH. If you're getting soloed, if you go in and you see one particular team is getting soloed a lot, stop placing it. You're giving them 64, 63 banners. You don't want to do that. And then the last pro tip here, 5-man with high banners. And so when you're going in with 5 men, have a plan for how to get 60 banners. What I mean by this is you may be taking a counter in that you know can beat this team with 5 standing. But how are you going to stay at full protection, full health, if you don't have a healer in there? You don't have some way to manage recovering those banners. You're conceding low banner matches. I'll give some specific examples of how to manage this with some specific teams, but just ask yourself going in to a match for whatever you're using, how am I going to regain my banners as my opponent attacks? The 2 ways of doing that is either with a healer or having a squad that is OP enough that you don't let them hit you very much, if at all. All right, so those are the general tips. Absorb them, embrace them. Let's get into now, as we go through this, I'm going to talk about several teams. There are more, and I want you guys to fill up the comment section with all of your teams that you are using to get high banners. I think this is a really valuable discussion we could start having on this. So definitely fill up the comments below on that. But let's get to some of these teams, the hacks, the Grand Arena hacks that we have got for this video. Starting with the first one, CLS Han and Chewy. I'm not going to talk much about this. We know CLS Han and Chewy work, but this is going to be a great team to have for the back wall because those 3 alone can handle just a stupid amount of teams. Really don't need to cover a lot. JTR with Finn. So when you use a JTR team, you're almost for sure going to be using BB-8, but you're going to want to take Finn in as well because his first special will heal the team. JTR with Finn is the ticket to getting high banner matches with JTR, especially if you're going against First Order, Bounty Hunters, Karth teams. Very possible to get high banners, but you need to make sure you have Finn in that team composition, in my humble opinion. Haldo's another good one. I know you guys love Haldo, right? You love it. All right. Number 6 is a little obvious too. Jedi Knight Revan with Hoda. If you are going against Grievous teams with your Jedi Knight Revan and you're not taking Hermit Yoda in there, you're doing it wrong. You need that protection recovery, and Hermit Yoda can put you in a position to get high banners against General Grievous teams. You're going to want to have a Relic Jolie if possible if you're in the end game, but you can really stall those matches. Be nice and conservative with how you're attacking. Think through your attacks. I can be better at that. I tend to just get going. I'm like, let's go, let's go. I get excited because of the stream, etc. But Hoda's a great way to do that. So these 3, I think, are kind of obvious. But then the last ones we got, I really want to talk about them because we got some good stuff here. Malik solo. And I'm going to include here teams that I know Malik can solo. There's probably more. Again, fill up the comments if you have more. These are the teams that I know concretely Malik can solo. Karth Old Republic teams, clones, and Ewoks. Now, the clone solo is one that I really want to talk about. Check this out. This is, let's see, Robert. This is just a random YouTube video. You can see the guy's name right here. But this guy was able to solo a pretty decent clones team. Let's see here. I'll go back. Let's go back. Here we go. That's the clone team right there. And so a general rule of thumb when you're doing solo matches is you probably want to have a gear advantage or at least be on par with gear. If this was a relicked out clone team, I would not feel comfortable going against it with Malik personally. Maybe he can do it. That's a Relic 5 Malik, maybe. But I think the reason why, I haven't personally done this, but I think the reason why this one in particular is working is because he's got the gear advantage there. But that's good to know. So look at this. I'll just fast forward to the end here. You can see here he's able to get it. That just all of that protection recovery he's got. It's just too good, man. It's just too good. Let's see how many banners he ends up getting. Oh, see, he even survived the Rexalate. There we go. It's 64 banners. If you can get 64 banners, it's just unbelievably beneficial to your team to get 64 banners. So Malik solo works great. It works very solid against Karth, especially. Ewoks, absolutely. And clones and probably some others. Again, fill up the comments. Those are just the main three that I have personally witnessed. All right. Karth and Watt on offense. Now, I want to talk about this. I don't have footage of this, but Karth with Watt, Tambor, and then Mission and Zalbar is actually a great way to go ahead and do a 5-man team that is going to have a very high probability of walking out with 60 banners. A reason to... Now, a lot of people like their Watt on defense, and in fact, a lot of people like their Karth on defense. I'm personally not sold that Karth on defense is a great idea unless you have a really high relic Candrass. Candrass can do a lot of damage and make this team complicated, but as we're going to see here, Karth is a team that can be solo. I mean, Malik can solo Karth, so don't place those soloable teams because you're going to have a lot of banners stolen from you. But when you take Watt with Karth in there, give that tech to Chewbacca. The other Wookiee, Zalbar. When you give that tech to Zalbar, he can become stupid, tanky, permatant, and then you're just going to be able to light whoever up. You're obviously not going to be taking that team against, the top echelon, GACs, Darth Revens, etc., but there are a lot of teams that can do well against. So consider saving your Karth and Watt for offense. All right, number 3, the Nest solo. We know Nest can solo a lot. This has been covered. It's been butchered. It's been discussed so much, but definitely works against Ewoks, Phoenix, and Rogue One. If you have a high relic Nest, I've even heard of Nest being able to solo some Padme teams that are under-geared if you have the gear advantage. I personally wouldn't trust that, but I've heard that works. I'm sure there's others as well. Again, fill up the comments. Number 2, Bosk lead on offense. Now, this is one I really like calling out because Bounty Hunters are one of those teams that people see so much on defense. Everybody has an answer for it. And so when you place it, it's like unless you've got like a really decked out notable Bounty Hunter team with Relic 7, Django, that kind of thing, people are probably going to have no problem beating your Bounty Hunter teams. But Bounty Hunter teams with Bosk lead have an insane amount of recovery. Bosk can permatant, and you can really get high banners. And Dengar makes it very easy to get out there, get a lot of AoE going. The contract makes you real tanky. This is a high banner team. Can beat a lot. Similar to, I feel like Bosk and Karth are very similar. Saving those two for offense, very good. And if your gear is good enough, your Bosk teams are going to be able to take out solid Night Sister teams. Only if your gear is good enough, though. Do not under-gear that matchup. You will regret it. And then finally, this is for the whales out there or the prepared, whichever you are. If you got General Skywalker, you can solo a ton of stuff with gas. Now, I did this. I actually did this when I was doing my friend's Grand Arena. This is my stream right here. We went ahead and used gas solo against a Relic 7 Kylo Ren unmasked, and we got the win pretty comfortably. In fact, I don't think it goes on long. Let's watch the match here. Look how he slices through that. Gas is such a solid counter to characters like Malik and Kylo Ren. There is a stun there. A general rule of thumb, by the way, when you're going for a solo, is try to avoid teams that can daze. I mean, a big reason why this works is because of all this countering. I mean, look at this. I don't think I've even taken a turn, and I'm just boom, boom. You know, it's just no issue. I got my volume on there. I'm going to turn that off. And look at this. 63 banners. That's just dumb, guys. That's stupid. So avoid those teams that can stun if possible, especially those that can daze, but otherwise it works pretty well. First order can stun, but you can manage it in that case. So gas solo, I was able to get this to work against bugs on the test account, relic bugs. That works pretty dang well. Now, I haven't flushed that out a ton, enough to make a video on it, but I have heard a rumor that a pretty well-known YouTuber is about to make a video on a bunch of teams that Gas can solo, so stay tuned for that. I know he can do Bounty Hunters as well with the gear advantage. You're not going to want to attempt a Gas solo until you have a Relic gas. I would definitely recommend a Relic 7 gas, but if you have General Skywalker unlocked, you're probably going to have him at high relic soon. That's when I start using him as a solo team. Now, a lot of people would think, well, I need my gas with my full clones team. I need him on defense, etc. A lot of people have a gas counter, guys. I don't think he's the best defensive team. I can counter gas, and I do not have him. And then the clones are very well utilized with a Shock T lead. You can take that entire gas team, dump it with Shock, put it on defense, get a ton of use out of it, and just use your General Skywalker as a solo team to get 64 banners on the back wall. Easy money, or 63, which is what I got in this case. You just need to plan out and make sure you have the adequate counters for it. You may consider saving Shock T and your clones on offense just in case. If you do need him on offense with the full 501st team, you got it. But if you can manage, then that gas solo can give you a ton of banners. And you know what? An extra 3-4 banners can make a huge difference in these matches. A lot of people in the, when you're towards the end of the game, very high end game matches, you've got a lot of people that are just going to full clear you no matter what. And so what it comes down to is efficiency, who can get the most banners. And these tips will help you guys hack your Grand Arena to get better banners. Not APK hacks, smart hacks. This is brain hacks, life hacks, so that you can get better banners. All right, everyone, that's going to do it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy this video, go ahead and leave a like. I would very much appreciate it. Comment, let me know what you guys think, all of that stuff. Give me more information. There's a lot more here I can't possibly know it all, but collectively, we all know quite a bit, and so I'll be looking for those comments. And subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. I would very much appreciate it. All right, Cubs fam, thanks for joining me for the video, and as always, my brothers, don't forget.
Sorry about the mess.